Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick you, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. It's a Hump Day edition of the show, or Would You Rather Wednesday, Wild Card Wednesday, whatever you want to call it. We're here live, locally, and ready to get things rolling. We invite you to get in on the conversation on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports, the sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The playbook for today, pretty varied, but we can get to whatever topic you'd like to get to. We have Ryan Williams makes history as Mr. Alabama. We'll talk about what that is, makes history for the second time with Mr. Alabama. Is the NCAA quietly growing teeth? Tennessee in trouble again? Question mark. Bama seeks a quad one road win versus Georgia. We'll wrap things up with the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. Want to remind everyone that we're going to be launching an Alabama Superfan contest, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. And then we want to remind Pat and Phillip to give us a call so we can get their information so that we can get them their swag pack for being the score prediction winner. The Martin Houston Show is live Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. You can always join us on the phone lines at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. That's where you can call up and be brought into the conversation. But if you tune in on the live stream, you can also interact with us there as well. We'll take your comments, your reactions, and your questions on the live stream. Give us a like, or better yet, out of like, so you need to follow. Follow us on Facebook, Martin Houston 35 fan page, and Martin J. Houston 35 on Facebook and YouTube, as well as Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Those are the various ways you can tune into the program. So we look forward to hearing from you this morning, getting your thoughts and your reactions. Another topic that we can definitely work into, and we'll have plenty of time to get to. The reason I didn't necessarily hit it today, but we can get on it, is A-Day. I don't know if you follow me, X and Justin on Facebook, you saw a thing I did for A-Day. The DeBoer era starts, and I just added the script A to the end of his name and made the ER a little different color. I'll post it up here on the video screen here in a minute to let people see it. But you can go out and react to that over on Facebook. So remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, man?
Doing well. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. Lots of things to get to. As I said, to start things off with the playbook, you have Ryan Williams. How good is Ryan Williams? I mean, this guy, history maker yesterday, being the only two-time winner uh, in Mr. Alabama football's 42-year history. Okay. Um, which comes off of being last year's first underclass sophomore winner of the award, which, had he not reclassified, would have been the favorite to win it three times in a row, uh, most likely. So, uh, people, I even had a couple people tell me that I was crazy for beginning to have the conversation around, is he to Nick Saban what I mean, is he to DeBoer what Julio was to Saban? He might be more than that to Saban. How special is this Ryan Williams kid, man?
He is he's in a class of his own. I mean, that's really the only way to put it. You talk about what he was able to do at the high school level in 3 years. They showed his stats: over 4,200 yards, 74 touchdowns. Not only the first back-to-back Mr. Alabama football, but to do it as a sophomore and a junior, and truthfully forfeiting an opportunity to do something that I don't think would ever be touched
Right.
by not coming back for his senior season. So it's amazing. And I don't know, did you hear uh, his response when somebody asked him about being the Julio Jones for equivalent for Coach DeBoer?
I read it, but I did not hear his exact words. I read part of his quote.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the young man that goes, "Hey, I'm going to put in the work, and I believe that I have the opportunity to be better." And I don't see anything that says he can't because of the way that he works and what we've already seen from him.
Yeah, he has that it factor. He's like I said, he won it as a sophomore. Um, his stats actually went down, ironically, his sophomore year. I mean, his junior year over his sophomore year, in some capacity, but still unbelievable numbers. To me, that what you look at, just how dominant a player Ryan Williams can be, is you look at what he did. Uh, this is 6A competition. So this is not like he did this, and I don't knock smaller schools. I was at a 4A school, and I guess in a way it's toot my own horn. Had I not split the backfield with other guys, and we hadn't have blown everybody out, I averaged 10 yards a carry. But I only played, I think, a fourth quarter, like 3 games my senior year. But that was in 4A competition, which is not bad. That's the middle of the road. He did this against 6A competition. And he didn't just do it
Yeah.
against 6A competition. He did it against 6A competition and the best in 6A competition, because he led his team to the state championship in back-to-back seasons as the man, and had 4 touchdowns and about 1,800,000 yards in the championship game at Bryant-Denny. So he wasn't just doing it, out in obscurity and all of that. He did this against the best competition. And then he reclassifies, and a week later plays in the All-Star game and is the MVP there. I mean, and so I don't remember exactly what he did in the I said the All-Star. He in the Alabama Mississippi State, Alabama versus Mississippi high school All-Star game. Then he went out to which one was he? Was he in Under Armour or All American Bowl? I think, and
Under
played
Armour.
well. So he was he's done this at the highest level. And then you add to the fact that he says the right things about his work ethic. So I don't have a reason to question it. And he has a pedigree from his dad. X. He has all the makings of being an absolute superstar. And you have to start thinking, if this kid can keep his head on straight and come here with the style of offense, and this is what people need to understand. If you gave me a choice, there's not a single college wide receiver that has played the game. I don't care if you go back to, you can go to any era, anywhere. There's not a single recruit that I would take over Julio Jones with the way college football is today. Not one. I mean, you can call up and give me anybody you want, and I wouldn't take them over Julio Jones.
I got one.
Who?
Calvin Johnson.
I wouldn't. No way. Not even close. Coming out of high school, Calvin Johnson became a beast in the pros. Calvin Johnson went to Georgia Tech, and all Calvin Johnson did at Georgia Tech was get the deep ball. Then he developed into a great wide receiver. But I wouldn't take him over Julio Jones. Julio Jones stepped out of Julio Jones is one of the few players that I think could have gone straight to the pros and played.
I don't know. Physically, I think Calvin could have done it. Physically, he was 6'5", 225 coming out of high school.
Yeah, but Julio was polished, man. I mean, Julio was ready to play the game. Julio did what he did in a run-first offense. Could you imagine today? And so that's why. So I don't want people to think that I'm saying Ryan Williams is Julio Jones. But we need to take a break here. But Ryan Williams, to me, is a history maker coming out of high school with Mr. Football twice, first sophomore to ever win it, would have been the only person with a 3-time opportunity, a 3-peat potential, and he left early. So, if we were doing a would you rather, I'd rather have Julio Jones in today's game over Ryan Williams. But Ryan Williams, let me tell you why I want Ryan Williams today. Why I think Ryan Williams will have the potential to make history again at the University of Alabama. You can get in on the conversation if you'd like to at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Or you can post your comments. Would you rather have Julio Jones in today's game or Ryan Williams? And why you think Ryan Williams may be a history maker and top all of the Alabama wide receivers before he leaves the capstone. We'll talk about it. We'd love to get you in on the conversation as well.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Our early view across T-Town this morning is free and clear of any real problem spots. You're moving along nicely on 2059 from Foster's to Cottondale on McFarland Boulevard, coming in from Coker, and 69 up from Hale County. Light volume on the board and no problems at this very early hour. So let's hope that continues as we move along this morning. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Townsend Nissan Super Sale is underway right now with instant savings from $2,000 to $10,000 on most in-stock units. No reasonable offer refused. Shop Townsend Nissan today.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
A lot of Kanoi's energy started to bounce back.
She has a lot of puppy moments, and she'll be 14 this summer.
What did these dog parents do for their dogs? They switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-size bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal. or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano. Did you know that insurance companies will only offer you pennies on the dollar for your injury? When you're in a wreck, you need an attorney who knows the law and will fight for you. I don't back down from the insurance companies. You need to hire a proven attorney who will win. My firm will fight to make sure you get the compensation you deserve. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Lots of sunshine today. Cooler, Tuscaloosa's high 53. Mostly fair tonight with the light freeze, the low at 30. Tomorrow and Friday, a warming trend. Lots of sunshine both days. The high tomorrow is 60, the high Friday at 64. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 41 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. I want to remind you that Southmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. Go check them out. They can help you with any of your promotional items and needs at southmarkdesign.com. Scott Smith and his team do an awesome job, and they'll take care of you for any of your upcoming events, and or maybe you need some corporate wear or special promo giveaway items. Scott Smith with Southmark Design. All right, X. We're talking about Ryan Williams making history, first sophomore to win the Mr. Alabama. And then back that up with the situation with winning it back to back. Had some good competition with his own teammate as well as his future teammate Mbakwe. Really big time with talent, I should say. So the question is, why am I saying that this dude's going to be a history maker at Alabama? You know, if you look at some of his comments, Bam Bam 72 said, listen to Ryan Williams interviews. It's hard to believe this kid is only 17. Actually, he's only 16. He won't be 17 until February 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Remember,
next Friday, he turns 17.
Yeah, remember, he's a sophomore. I mean, a junior. He's not a senior. So he's only 16, which means the dude could end up being, 6'2". He could end up being Julio size. Who knows? He's not through growing. But
Not
he's
close.
he sounds so mature for his age, and he has a plan for what he wants to accomplish and is very confident. And then he said, I like what Ryan said about if you're a wide receiver, you're crazy if you don't give Alabama a look with the offense DeBoer is going to run. Two things there. One is I love the fact that he's saying you're crazy if you're in the position he plays, that you don't give a look. But do you like, who did he give credit to the offense for? DeBoer. And that backs up my comment about everybody was saying, hey, these guys came to play for Saban. And that's true. And I get that. Because you kind of knew that Saban defensively actually get you to the league and could teach you things. Well, DeBoer is going to convince, if you're a skill guy, I think tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs will be unbelievable future players here at Alabama. Then the other part becomes, can Alabama get the offensive linemen? Well, we don't have to get the same style offensive linemen in this offense that we used to. That's another sidebar that we'll circle back on. But because of the style of offense, the speed of the game, the number of plays. I haven't went back and looked at it, X. When Julio played here, Alabama probably average running 65 plays, maybe 70. Now that number's up in the 80s and 90s, I guarantee you, with DeBoer and his staff, they're hitting probably 80 or 90 a game at different times. So he's going to get so many more opportunities, I think, than what Julio did. And there's more games.
Okay, so question. Ryan stays healthy. He hits his peak, or he continues on an upward trajectory. Where do you see him finishing among, like, number wise, among the all-time greats? Like, not a specific number, but in 3 years, can he flirt with Devontae's numbers, or
I
is
think
he
he'll
Duke's
pass.
numbers?
I think he'll be the top yard getter in Alabama history.
Oh wow!
Devontae's
So you expect him to hit the ground running?
I think he'll be in the starting rotation next fall. I believe he will, because you have to remember, he's not behind the other guys anymore. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like if DeBoer had already been here, then he would have a bigger gap to climb. He would be further behind. But since the only thing he won't have is spring, I don't know that he will be behind at all, because of he'll miss those practices, and he can make that up in the summer. He reminds me of, I saw this list of the greatest Mr. Alabamas, and I looked at it. Ironically, it's like, of the top 10, 1 through 10. I'm not sure if the list was done to try to make this happen, but 5 went to Alabama, 4 went to Auburn, and 1 went to LSU of the top 10 guys. But Ryan Williams has some of that, what I call Deuce David Palmer type special acts. I remember people talking about David Palmer like this. Like, if David Palmer was coming out today, he would be talked about like we're talking about Ryan Williams. And because he was talked about this way back then. And I can remember going, yeah, the kid's good, but come on, man, he's not all of that. And I just remember us thinking that he's elite to the other guys, but when he comes here, he'll be kind of back with the pack. And he wasn't. He just wasn't, X. He was like, I mean, you can't explain what David Palmer could do on the field. And this is what I tell someone. Someone tell me, yeah, he Martin, he's young, and it's going to be a different level. I said, let me tell you something. You can be stronger than everybody in high school and get to college, and that doesn't mean anything. You see what I'm saying? Like you can bench more than everybody and all of that, and it doesn't mean anything, because there's another guy. Like, my senior year, I benched as much in high school as I did in college. Okay, but I could rep what I bent. I could rep my MaX at Alabama, but I never got a higher weight at Alabama. So when I hit you the first play, I was strong. And when I hit you the last play, I was strong. In high school, I could hit you early and maybe my fatigue, et cetera, I wasn't as strong. Well, when you run a 4.3, 4.4, it doesn't matter where you're at. A 4.3 and a 4.4 is still a 4.3 and 4.4 or whatever. I don't care what level you're at. You see what I'm saying? That's why you see skill guys like him come in, X, and they're able to just transition. And I think he is that type of player. I really, really do. Your comments, because I got something else that I think makes this kid different.
Man, I haven't been able to fully put my finger in on what it is. I got to watch him his sophomore year in the playoffs against Hillcrest. And you're talking about a Hillcrest team that was bullying people all year long. And he came in and he was the difference maker. He was that talented at 15 years old, watching him just going, wow, what can he be? And then you see him do it again. And it's man, the expectations are just I don't want to put the expectations on him, but you see it. You know it's there as long as he puts in the work to get there. And that's what makes it so exciting. That's why I was like, man, when he decommitted, I was like, oh man, he's gonna go to Auburn. The Freeze 5 is gonna happen. But to see him come back into the fold and be as committed as he has been, and just the mentality of everything that he talks about and the way that I've seen him work in clips and videos, I know the future is big and bright for this young man.
Yeah, he's a different talent, but he also seems to have a different level of maturity about him, and that's to me. Um, Jason Rutledge said, "Haven't watched any tape of him. Is he Waddle like? He's Jason. He's Waddle. He's Smith. He's Judy. He's
I was about to say that's
he's
probably
all of them. I mean,
he's all of them, but the closest comparison is probably Jerry Judy.
But I think he's yeah. I mean, he has all of it. He's a good route runner. He has good top end speed. He's good in space. Put it like this: Jalen Mbakwe, who he said needs to be the recruiter of the year. So thank you, Jalen Mbakwe. Alabama fans, show some love. I guarantee you, they figure out a way to get him some touches on offense. He will be like, what's the kid from Colorado?
Travis Hunter.
Hunter. If they don't let Mbakwe touch the ball on offense, Mbakwe was not a quarterback, y'all. This dude was a defensive back, wide receiver / running back that they moved to wide receiver. To quarterback. And he just proceeded to run through 6A competition as a quarterback. It's crazy. How good he is. And I love the relationship that they have. These two superstars, future superstars for Alabama. But when I look at Ryan Williams, what makes me just fall in love with him, X, is the fact that he truly seems to be grounded. He talks about hard work. He talks about, hey, I recognize Julio Jones is the greatest, okay? And if I put in the work, he didn't say I'm going to be better. He said I can put in the work to be better, and that's my goal. So he gets it. He knows that he's not going to just show up because of what he's done in high school and be the man on college. And that's what makes it special. I think about Ryan Williams is his dad knows the level of work he needs to put in. So he's transferred that to his son. His son has all the natural God-given talent and ability, and he seems to have the right head on his shoulders. And he's coming to an offense, and that's why I think he'll pass everybody. Devontae Smith did what he did in one season and some change. Devontae Smith was always the big guy, but he was never the guy until his senior year, and he won the Heisman. Now, had Devontae played, to me, they played him more, he would have shattered the records. But you go back and look at Devontae's career, he makes a big catch on 2nd and 26. You go back and look the next year, he had the most 200-yard games in his career amongst all of those guys. He was the guy with the most catches, but he would have that one game and then he wouldn't play but one or two catches here and there, and because all the other guys. I think Smith will. I think Williams will be in the rotation the entire time, and I think that's what gives him the opportunity. If he now all this is projecting, right? If he stays humble and grounded, which I think he will. Alabama, I think, is hit a home run.
Healthy is the big thing for him. I think if he has a injury-free career, as far as like nothing major, nothing crazy, nothing that causes him to miss a lot of time, I definitely see him in the top. I think he's a top 3 without a doubt at the end of his career. Like no questions asked as far as numbers. I just wonder if he can have a massive year the
Think
way
about this.
Devontae did, because that's what it'll take.
I don't know if it'll take that, X. I think it'll take 3 really solid years. If Alabama's quarterback does what Penix did, Penix had over 9,000 passing yards. The Washington has had over 9,000 passing yards the last 2 seasons. Divide that up. You see what I'm saying? So, just think about that. If Mac Jones and comes back for another season, Devontae does it in 2 seasons, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's the fact that this offense, let that settle in for a second. How many yards did he had? Over 4,000 one year, and they had 5,000 this past year, right?
Yep.
They had 9,000. Just 3 receivers. I think he has an unbelievable opportunity. Now, I think there's going to be some other guys who are going to we're going to realize how much talent Alabama had behind Waddle on this team, because I think Williams isn't the only one. That's who we're talking about. But I think Law, I think Hale and others are going to really, really sprout in this offense. Prentice is going to go back to his freshman form. That's just the guys who are there, not counting the new guys coming in. Hold that thought, X. Tell me what you're going to say. You bring it out on the other side.
All right. I think he has.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances, Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
Everybody loves Taco Casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. We hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chimalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. As we were getting in a break, we were just talking about what Ryan Williams needs to do to end up among the leaderboards in Alabama history. And just doing the math real quick, Just doing the math real quick. To pass Devontae Smith, he would have to average 80 catches a season, 1,322 yards, and 15 touchdowns. That's what he would need to be the all-time leader across the board. And looking at that, that's very achievable over the course of his career because he'll have as long as he stays healthy, he'll have a 100 catch season and things of that nature. So I think it is very possible in 3 years he could end up being Alabama's all-time leader across the board.
Absolutely. So, and as we look at that, is it likely possible? I don't know, but I think he will definitely be amongst the top road tiders out there if he gets. If he stays healthy and plays, 14, 13, 14, 15 games a season. All right, Pat, you're
And he'll get an
in.
opportunity to play more.
Huh?
He'll get an opportunity to play more if Alabama makes the playoffs every year.
Right. That's what I'm saying is that if they make the playoffs, it's even more. So yeah, he definitely has a chance. Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Martin, those young guys just have no clue just how special David was. Go back to '92 when y'all went over to Little Rock, Arkansas. Martin, I don't think he didn't get to play the first half, and we won't go into why. But Slick Willie was up in the press box, and man, when he came out in the second half, hey, everybody forgot who the crap Slick Willie was or who Slick Willie was going to be because it was a David Palmer show. And then, hey, I was also privileged to be over at Ole Miss. They were throwing beer. Remember, they were throwing little whiskey bottles at y'all out on the field that day because of how special David was. But he did everything that day. A little bit of quarterback, a little bit of wildcat, punt returns, nothing he couldn't do.
Watch this. Isn't it ironic, Pat, isn't it ironic that Stallings was known as Mr. Conservative and all of that, but he was doing wildcat and all this stuff before anybody else. He was doing it 30 years ago.
Yeah. But hey, I think David, they were over at Ole Miss. I believe he did everything except sell popcorn, and they thought they saw him a couple of times up with some popcorn bags trying to sell some of that too.
Someone else made that same statement about what he did at Jackson Olin back at JO. They said he did everything but sell popcorn. What else you got for us, Pat?
Yeah, and I just wanted to talk about how that Ryan Williams showed a little bit in the All-Star game down at the Under Armour game. He showed a little bit of being Palmer-esque in that he caught 2 touchdown passes and threw a 2-point conversion in that ball game. A lot of people forget about that,
Yeah.
And this kid is special. But,
and he's still growing. That's the part that would be scary if I was opposing coaches is what happened. Remember what this kid said when all of the guys start leaving, when Aaron Anderson and those guys went in the portal last year? He said, if you're afraid of competition, then go ahead and leave. Everybody forgets that he called out the Alabama wide receivers as a sophomore, as a 15-year-old last year.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not knew he did it, but anyway.
Yeah. And this coach, but Grubbs has never had this kind of talent ever. What can he do, sir?
He has some talented wide receivers. I don't think that the overall staff, but last year's wide receivers from Washington, they were pretty good. It wasn't just Penix out there. I'm not saying that these guys can't grow into that, but he has some dogs up there at Washington. So I don't want to disrespect those guys. Now, complete depth from top to bottom, Alabama may have more, but he has some dogs up there. There's a reason Bernard. There's a reason that Bernard is probably as good as Isaiah Bond, and he was the fourth guy last year, Xavier?
Yep.
Let that sink in, Pat.
Hey, all I can tell you is that Mr. Hale is going to show that speed this year, and that hey, I'm gonna and y'all gonna say, Pat told y'all we needed to get Jalen Hale, and so
Pat,
hey, I'm looking forward to it all coming.
Nobody doubted Jalen Hale. It was the guys that had proven themselves in front of him.
And it wasn't just
you had Burton and Bond, and like who was he going to play in front of last year, Pat?
Yeah, I don't know, but hey, when he got his opportunities, he shined pretty good when he got his opportunities.
Absolutely, Pat.
Did. That's the problem.
So
that's the point.
And here's the other side of that, Pat, and I have to let you run after this. But, Pat, think about this. It wasn't that Jalen Hale shouldn't have had a great year this year. We just had an offensive coordinator that didn't know how to use the talent he had on offense. Jalen Hale had moments, and we didn't build on it. Law had moments last year. We didn't build on it. We all thought, okay, we're going to build on that. Hale has become, obviously, a guy who can be our deep ball threat, and we don't use him anymore. It's obvious that Law gives us a different dimension in the wide receiver room. Let's not build on that. So that's the problem. And I think this offensive staff, you'll see all of these guys develop and be used even better. Hey, Pat, I got to let you go, but hey, congratulations on winning the score prediction contest. I'll get your swag pack to you, man.
Okay. I'll get down about to get you. I'll get down and see you sometime. All right. Have a great one.
All right. Have a good one. Hey, X, we still have we'll kick this conversation to tomorrow with the NCAA. Is the NCAA trying to cut their teeth or drop a set, whichever way you want to call it? They're going after Tennessee. They've went out to Florida State. Now they seem to be just going after the southern team. Or we don't are the teams in the South the only one cheating on it? I don't know. But real quick, what's your thoughts? Alabama trying to get a quad one road win. They finally got a big win at home over a couple big opponents, especially the Tennessee win. Can they follow this Wednesday up with another big road win, quad one win over a good opponent? Because they've not checked that box on their resume yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bama can get it done. They seem like they've worked out some of those bugs, the late game situations. Winning on the road in the SEC is hard regardless, but we've seen Bama do it, so there's no reason they can't do it again tonight against the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's keep the momentum going and see where this leaves Bama.
Absolutely. So we'll talk more about that game. We'll review it on tomorrow. We'll also talk about the Tennessee and it's not just Tennessee. They're looking at Florida. They've penalized Florida State. How they don't go back to look at Texas A&M, I'm not sure. But is the NCAA, have they allowed this Wild Wild West to go? X, really the question is true, false tomorrow. Have they let this NIL go and people just break the rules? They had rules, but they've not enforced anything. And are they going to go after some of these schools in hindsight that we thought were getting away with stuff? So we'll talk about that more on the Martin Hughes Show. We're going to go ahead and get the break here. As we get the break here, I wanted to show you guys this graphic that I posted up on Facebook. But I call it the Debo era. Since Ryan Williams and others are calling him Debo, I just figured we just put the script A at the end of the board and call it Debo era. The Debo era officially begins, if you don't know, on April 13th. As we go to break here, check it out. We'll be back in just a moment.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. The T-Town traffic map remains pretty open right now. A bit more volume as we go, but No big problem so far. If you're traveling Littling Wallace across the Hugh Thomas Bridge to Jack Warner Parkway, delay-free conditions waiting for you there. 2059 between Foster's and Cottondale. Same story with no big problem spots along the way. And 69 up from Hale County as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. The beginning of the 2024 Alabama legislative session is just days away, and one of the top priorities is violent crime, especially violent youth crime. Despite setting mandatory minimum sentences for violent youth last year, Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall told news partner ABC 3340 more needs to be done this session. Several bills have been proposed for the coming session to deal with the issue. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey everybody, it's Gary Harris. Coming up Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show. We're going to talk some hoops with Bart Heights, break it down for the SEC as Alabama gets ready to go on the road against Georgia. Also, we'll continue to talk Senior Bowl and Kalen DeBoer and Alabama football, plus your phone calls on the Gary Harris Show Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show. The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We'll be adding Scotty Hollins to the conversation in just a moment. I want to encourage you to like, follow, share the Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook. Just make that your normal follow. You'll catch all of the live streams there, as well as you'll get the additional content that I post throughout the day. So follow on Facebook.com/Martin Houston 35 fan page. During the break, I had the Debo era up X. I'm looking forward to an awesome time in what happens there with the Debo era starting on April 13th. We'll talk more about the 8A game, of course, as we get closer to it. So exciting times for Alabama. I kept warning people that they need to stop laughing at Bama, and I've never seen so many fan bases act like because our coach retired, it's going to make their program better. I don't get that. Justin, it's kind of crazy to think about, but it is what it is. Everybody thinks that they get better because Saban retires. In reality, Alabama will keep right on rolling. We'll be back tomorrow with more football conversation as we keep moving things forward right here on your home for Alabama Sports Talk 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC on the radio dial. Like I said, don't forget to like Facebook.com/Martin Houston 35 fan page. where you can catch all of the great live stream as well as all of the other content. Comment, follow, and share to be a part of it. Thanks for all you do to help make this show a great show, a great interaction, and a little different than all the others. And I'm not doing that. I don't want to be like any other show. And part of what makes me different is my faith. And that doesn't mean other people don't have faith, but I'm proud of my faith and I incorporate it into my show. So I thank all of you who join in for that part of it. And it's now time for us to roll into our weekly catch up with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, the Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week, as he challenges us and encourages us how to incorporate our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. I'm doing well, and I'm excited about continuing our series on just understanding the building blocks that are necessary for building something special. Again, this is the last day of January, right? So
Yes.
everybody's still kind of feeling fresh about. Isn't that crazy? It seems like we just started, and now everybody, I think everybody's still feeling fairly fresh about building something special, whether it's new habits or new goals, and or new habits to accomplish new goals. But I want to make sure we understand, hey, we have a few building blocks that are necessary if you want to build something special. We started with God's word. We spent a couple of weeks there and saying, listen, we can't find a better building block than God's word to build something special this new year. But here's the second thing I want to talk about as we think about building something special, and it's prayer. All right. And a quote that I've used many times before, and I probably will use it many more times, is the most important thing about you is what you believe about God, because that becomes the lens through which you see all of life. That's an A.W. Tozer quote. And so I want you to think about that as we talk about prayer being a building block for building something special. And here's the verse I want to use. Philippians 4, 6, and 7 says, don't be anxious about anything. It says, but in everything. Another word for don't be anxious is don't worry. So, if you say, I'm not anxious, well, do you worry? Yeah, I think we can all agree that at times we worry. Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, he says, make your requests known to God. Then he gives us a then statement. I love the do this and then you get a then. He says, and then the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So I want to just share that with you guys as we talk about building something special this year and actually having the foundation that's necessary to do that. I want to make sure that we are always including the one who made it all. One of my favorite verses is relative to that is Psalms 127:1. It says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. So unless the Lord builds the house, we're wasting our time in this building project. So we're talking about building something special this year. All right, well, let's first talk to the one who created it all and who's created us and ask for his wisdom, ask for his direction. But here's the thing, Martin, as we seek to build something special, there are going to be some really big obstacles in our way. We can all think of them. We all have obstacles, walls, difficulties, things that intimidate us, that cause us to, guess what? To worry. Isn't that where our verse started? That cause us to worry. And the verse says, don't worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication. So here's the reality. As we talk about the most important thing about us is what we believe about God, because that becomes the lens through which we see all of life. When we see these obstacles that are there to our building project, and if you don't have any obstacles to your building project, I don't want to, your building project might be a little bit too small. It might be, I don't know, but I think every building project worth building is going to have obstacles and plenty of them. And a lot of those obstacles will be intimidating, Martin. They will be difficult. They will cause us to worry. But I think once we see those things that cause us to worry, that's where it kicks in. What do we believe about God? Do we trust him? Is he good? Is he big? Is he strong? Is he omnipotent? Omnipotent. Omni, all potent power. Does he have all power? Is he sovereign, in complete control? Is he, who is he, and how does that impact how I take the next step? This verse tells us, don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. So it assumes, Martin, that we trust God, that we say that, you know what, although that's big, my God is bigger. So I'll pray. And then it says, as you really trust that, as you really believe that, and as you really pray, he says, then understand this, the peace of God, which transcends all, not most, not some, but all understanding, will guard our hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So I just want to encourage you guys today. Next week, we'll take one more step with this building block, and I will actually give you guys a pattern, like a little format for prayer. And it's not the format for prayer, but it's a format for prayer. So it's something that can guide your time in prayer. But I know Martin likes to usually give us a great analogy at the end. So here you go, Martin. It's time for you to knock it out of the park.
I love it, and you're talking about the prayer and building on it, and part of that is building on the power. And through our fast, I taught last week that you have to have a personal relationship to be plugged into or connected to the source. But to me, prayer is that building block that not only do you be plugged in, like you ever had those sockets in your home, Scotty, where you have to flip the switch on, or even though you got the lamp plugged in, you have to flip the switch up for the power to be released into that lamp. So the personal relationship connects you to the power source, an unlimited power source. But prayer is the flipping of the switch, which releases that power from the source to the receiver. And so if we're going to build our life, we have to not just be connected to personal relationship with him. We have to continually open our receiver in order for his power to flow through us, into us, and then out of us. Because when that power goes from that switch to that lamp, a bulb goes off. And what happens? Everybody sees that light. No matter how dark it is, that light shines. And that's what God's called us to do in our daily walk. So if we're going to build anything, you definitely need to make sure you add prayer. And of course, to tie it in with your A.W. Tozier statement, last week I said you have to acknowledge that he has all power and all authority. And power is resident within authority. And then he says, but you have to believe it. And if you don't acknowledge it and you don't believe it, you'll never pray with boldness and expectation because you don't believe it. So before you can even get to a point where you'll pray to God, you have to acknowledge his authority, connect with that authority, and then believe that that authority exists and is for you. Tell them where they can find you, Scotty.
You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there, and it comes straight to my email.
All right. That's Scotty Hollins. He'll be back with us next Wednesday. I'm Martin Houston. Xavier Houston was with us earlier. That's Justice Jones. This is the Martin Houston Show. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Thank all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program with us. Hey, don't forget to follow and share at Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports.